the Homesteaders of America conference in Front Royal, Virginia a couple days ago, and I'm going to try to make a little bit of a recap video. We'll see if the birds will let me. You can hear them. The geese are really happy we're home. Let's see. Yeah, there they are. And they get the turkeys going and the ducks going and everybody else going. So we'll see if they'll let me make a video or if we're just gonna have to listen to them. So we got on the road early Thursday morning, headed down to Front Royal, Virginia to attend our second, but the third annual Homesteaders of America conference. If you've never been and you're interested in any aspect of this lifestyle, they're going to have it again next year. I think it's October 9th and 10th, maybe. That weekend in October 2020. I believe it's in Front Royal again. Front Royal and Winchester, Virginia are both gorgeous towns. It's a gorgeous part of the country. As long as 81 in Virginia isn't mostly construction up and down like they were for us, it's not a bad drive. It's an easy drive. Our drive home was not easy. It was long. We are about somewhere between 12 and 13 hours from Winchester / Front Royal. It took us about 13 to get there, but we stop and take extended coffee breaks and all of that. The drive home, it took us closer to 16 hours. We go 40 through Tennessee and then 81 into Virginia, and so just backtracked and did that backwards. 81 had some construction, and it seemed like the Virginia drivers, or everybody leaving Virginia, who knows, decided that in between construction zones they should wreck. So there was that. We moved slowly down 81. We also ran into the typical 40 crowd on I-40. If you're not from Tennessee, if you've not driven 40, I do 0 out of 10 do not recommend currently. They are always constructing something and there are always wrecks. I don't know what it is about 40, but 40 through Tennessee, which is the interstate I take to work, so I can talk about it like I do this on a regular basis. There are always things that just slow you way down. We got to Knoxville and we sat for about an hour. We got past Knoxville into some of the mountainy parts, and there was a 3 or 4 car pileup wreck. We sat for another hour. It was not fast moving. It was not. At least what I can say for that is after we got past Knoxville's traffic and got back on the highway, we made the decision to stop, caffeinate, take a bathroom break, stretch our legs, stretch our backs, walk around. We were at a gas station that had probably 10 or 15 feral cats that lived out behind it, so of course we fed them pieces of turkey because that's who we are, and got back on the road, so that way when we ended up stuck for the next hour behind a wreck, we were not doing the I have to pee dance and grouchy because we didn't have any caffeine. It did, however, slow down our progress getting home. Now, the other thing that slowed us down was about Bristol, Tennessee. We decided to stop and grab some lunch. We went to this place called Audrey's. They took amazing care of us. Would absolutely recommend going there if you're in the area. The guy that waited on us, Logan, was phenomenal. The food was really good. We're not hard to please in the sense that we're picky, but yeah, it was good food. For people who cook food and for people who have cooked food in restaurants, it was really good. We went to the massive Cabela's and the Bass Pro Shop. So at least one of the hour-plus stops that we had wasn't because of anybody but ourselves. So at least we had an extended period where we could stretch our legs and be out of the car, which was nice because it took us forever to get home after that. Of course, day one being home, we let the birds out. We have been scolded many, many times, especially by the geese. They're not done being mad at us. Walked the property, kind of marinated, if you will, on the information and knowledge we got at the conference, the people we met, the different homesteads that we follow on YouTube, got to meet a lot of those people, and had such an amazing time. And when we got home, we walked around our property with renewed enthusiasm, dedication, love, passion for this lifestyle. We can sometimes get bogged down in the day-to-day. It's not easy. Whoever said that homesteading was a simple way of life, while it may be simpler than a high-tech blah blah, it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work pretty much every day. Even when you have efficient systems in place to help with some of that, there is never an end to the things that have to be done. And it can be easy, especially when, for us, for example, I work far away. It's not easy for us to keep up the enthusiasm all the time. But we came back from the Homesteaders of America conference. We are renewed, we are reinvigorated, we are excited, we have plans to downsize some things, plans to try some new things, and just a lot of excitement for this year on the homestead. One of the presentations we got to see presented us with an idea we had not considered yet. Mike and Jenny Pratt from the Pratt Family Homestead. If you don't follow them on YouTube, you really, really should. They're phenomenal. A lot of fun to see speak in person. They talked about tapping maple trees, and one of the first things we did when we came out yesterday was walk around the property looking at our trees, trying to identify everything that could be tapped for syrup. Sap for syrup, basically. And so we've got a couple maple trees we intend to tap and try that out this coming spring, late winter, whatever our weather will let us do. And we're really, really excited about that. We're going to make some changes to our chicken flock. We're probably going to downsize a little bit. We have some birds that are aging out. We're going to let them and not replace them. And we're going to kind of change the composition, if you will, of our chicken flock. We are going to try to have fewer egg layers and try to do meat chickens again this year. We did not, well, this coming year, we did not. This year, we skipped meat chickens altogether and raised a few turkeys, which frequently takes the place for us. And it's a lot of meat for one bird, so it's sometimes easier. I don't think the geese would let us get rid of them even if we wanted to. We don't want to. We like them. We even like how loud they are. They're good alarm systems. They're good watchdogs. They keep the other birds in line. They're frequently telling the ducks what the ducks are doing wrong with their lives. We are going to potentially add a cow in the spring. We'll have to see how that pans out. And we're going to try to do a few different things in the garden. Instead of trying to grow every single possible thing we can, we are going to reduce the kinds of plants that we're growing and try to do them really, really well. And then the stuff that we are not growing, we're going to get from our local farmers market. We've got quite a few vendors that are local. It's always good to support your local food, farmers market, farmers, etc. If you check out my blog on the Homesteaders of America conference, you'll get a lot of links to some of the people we met and some of the different things that we saw. Also, I would like to put out there that membership in the Homesteaders of America gets you access to all of the speakers from this year. All of it was videotaped, all of it's up there. It's a lot of really good information because they have 3 speakers going at one time. Obviously, we can't be everywhere at once, so it's good for us because we'll get to go back and see the things we didn't get to see while we were there, but also revisit some of our favorites. A lot of the talks were standing room only, and because we did a lot of talking to vendors and me personally fangirling when I ran into YouTubers that I follow, we definitely did not get the best seats in the house a lot of the time, so we'll go back and rewatch some of the presentations we really enjoyed with the ability to take notes and pause and write things down, which I couldn't do because, again, yeah, I was too busy talking. If you know me, you know how out of character that is. Lot of different stuff going on the homestead this year, and like I said, some of it is scaling back. We listened to multiple presentations by Joel Salatin. It's almost unthinkable to miss the man's talks. If you have a chance to hear him speak, not only is he knowledgeable and has a lot of experience, but is a lot of fun to listen to. He's a good speaker, he's good at what he does, he's a good author. Check out any one of his books. I think we started with Folks, This Ain't Normal. If you haven't read it, it's an amazing read. He's an excellent writer, he's an excellent speaker, and this year for me, he did something for me that my husband has been trying to do for a few years and couldn't either get me to believe or couldn't quite put it into perspective for me. But my original plan for our homestead had always been to do everything. You want fleece, you grow it. You know, sheep for wool or alpacas for fiber, whatever. You want meat, you raise it. You want vegetables, you grow them all. Fruit, we need all the trees. Coffee, well, okay, yeah, no, I'm not giving up my coffee bushes. I've put too much work into them. The point being, in the back of my head, we've always had the ability and the desire to do every single thing, and that's part of where homestead burnout comes from. In one of his talks, Joel Salatin talked a lot about you can't do everything. It's impossible. Forrest Pritchard has a book. He's actually, I think, a neighbor of Joel Salatin's. He has a book out, Gaining Ground. It talks a lot about going from conventional ag to a different kind of agriculture. He raises beef, and one of the things he talks about in his book is when they first started raising beef, they had their beef on half of the pastures, and then they were haying the rest of it, but the cost of the equipment and maintaining and cutting and the weather and this, that, and the other, etc., blah, 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 on, was an immense time suck and money pit and didn't make any sense until one of his old-timey neighbors told him, you can buy your hay. And the light bulb for them went off. You don't have to do your own hay. You have a lot of people around you that do hay, the quality of hay that you want. So when Joel Salatin said, you can't do it all, and trying to do it all means you don't do a lot of it very well, it was my light bulb moment, and probably a huge relief for my poor husband, who I have been dragging, kicking, and screaming into it all for a few years. He loves the homestead, he loves the lifestyle, he loves that we do this, but it's really, really hard, especially when I'm gone half the time at work, for him to maintain everything and to keep passionate about maintaining everything. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work for one person. When I'm here, I do as much as he does, and some days a lot more so that he can rest, but I'm not here every day of the week, so that puts a lot on him. So we had a really long conversation. We had plenty of time for it on the drive home. Like I said, it was many, many hours. We've got nothing on our homesteading family from Michigan and Wyoming and Montana and Alaska and the international people that come every year. We are not even close to the trip that they take, but it, for me, was a long drive. We definitely had enough time to go over and re-plan some of what we want to do on our homestead. There are must-haves. We must do this small list of things, and the rest of it, we're thinking of ways to have somebody small, local, family-based do for us. We ran into and absolutely talked the ear off of some alpaca farmers. They were very gracious to give us as much of their time as they did. We brought home somewhere between 5 and 10 pounds of alpaca fleece, I have 2 raw fleeces that I bought from them, and then I have quite a bit, I think 25 ounces of roving, which is ready to spin. I'm hopefully going to be documenting all of that on YouTube as I screw up some really gorgeous roving, because I am still learning, and as I card and work all of the raw fleece. But my husband pointed out, buy fleece from them, you don't need alpacas. Which, I mean, when I broke out the very logical argument of, but they're fluffy, he was unimpressed. Rude. But we don't need alpacas. We don't have any reason to keep alpacas. You can eat alpacas, but it makes more sense to keep them for fleece. We're not ever going to have enough that would make sense monetarily. It's just one of the pie in the sky ideas that I had clung to for way too long. Same goes for sheep. I would love to have sheep. They're so fluffy. We don't need sheep. We don't need sheep. My point to him on the way home was, well, you know, I mean, you've got your general maintenance that you're going to do for the other livestock anyway, but then you only have to shear them once a year, typically. And he said, yeah, I have to do all of the same work to only get product once a year. So you're taking all of the time, the feed, the land, the manpower, the money, the big factor being the money, and you're only getting 5 to 10 pounds of return. And it only does us so much good. There's only so many wool products that I can spin and knit and crochet for us until we're just out of ideas and space for things. So it didn't make any sense. So I gave up on the drive home, I gave up my dream of having my own little miniature herd of sheep. And not kicking and screaming. I did not pitch a fit. I didn't say it's not fair. I didn't turn into the toddler that I have the tendency to occasionally become when I don't get my way. Sorry, everybody. I did it willingly, and I did it fully aware, and it was the right decision. So we're not getting sheep. We're not getting alpacas. The part of me that wants everything fluffy is disappointed, but you know what? She will live, because she will have access to so many other things that we get to do on our homestead, because we are not doing those animals, because we're not keeping those animals on our property. The same goes for the birds. So we're going to downsize our egg-laying flock. I have a few people at work that buy my chicken eggs, but it is kind of a pain in the butt to get them to my customers, and it's barely covering feed. It's not covering all the feed, and we could never possibly eat the amount of eggs that we have. I got carried away. That's pretty typical. My husband tells me we don't need to do this. I say, sure we do. We do it, and then he's right. Don't y'all dare tell him I said so, although he'll probably see this later. Yes, honey, you're right. We don't need this many chickens. Okay, I died a little inside just now. So we're going to downsize our egg-laying flock. That'll open up space for us to have more meat birds, so we can raise our own chicken. We've had our own poultry for a few years now, and that's not been an issue, but we can raise more meat chickens and play with the genetics on a breeding flock of meat birds for us. So, looks like the birds found a snake. They're trying to keep me away from it. That's very sweet. Thank you guys for protecting me. I appreciate you. It's a tiny snake, so the amount of alarm is probably unwarranted, but we'll let them yell at it to make them feel better about themselves. Yeah, so like I said, just follow along. I am hoping to do more YouTube. It's been something that with everything else I haven't really been able to do. I'm hoping to blog more. There are multiple links, like I said, in the blog post. WordPress, Nurse Erin's Garden Site, SITE. Check me out. I'll throw a link to that down below here. There are links to Homesteaders of America membership services, a lot of the vendors that we met, a lot of the YouTube channels that we follow. Check them all out. Check out the people they subscribe to. Embrace this life. I'm telling you, it's awesome, especially when you don't overdo it like I do. And yeah, y'all come back, check us out. I'm going to give you a quick look. I got my cow shirt on from Farm Life Outfitters. I'm super pumped. We got Homesteaders of America t-shirts. I got stickers for the back of my vehicle. Some of you know that I was rear-ended in the Toyota Corolla a few months ago. I have always owned a small four-door Toyota Corolla pretty much my whole life. From a standstill, a gentleman in a Ford Ranger was able to completely total my little car. My poor little car has been such an amazing farm vehicle this whole time. Has hauled hay, has hauled straw, has hauled 300 or 400 pounds of feed, has hauled animals. We brought 2 pigs home from Cookeville, Tennessee in the back seat in a rabbit hutch. And this guy hit me and destroyed my sweet little gas-efficient farm vehicle, and so I did the logical thing when you're in a car accident and you're not making good decisions. I bought a much bigger vehicle. I'm now in an SUV, but I didn't have any of my bumper stickers. I didn't have any of that, and so I was able to pick up some bumper stickers and window decals from the conference. I'm super pumped about that because I'm a nerd for fridge magnets and car stickers. Yeah, check out the blog. There are a lot of links. Follow along with us here. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!